Impulsivity and teens go hand in hand. A lot of times teens don't think before they act, and sometimes they even do think before they act, but they just have poor decision making. It could be due to, just lack of experience, or doing what their friends are doing. There's a whole gamut of reasons why they do what they do and why they make impulsive decisions. So something that I work on teens with is decision making and trying to make decisions based upon all the factors that they possibly can think of and truly making a decision based upon their values and their beliefs. So we always think about what our goals are. So I sit with teens and we think, what are our short-term goals and what are our long-term goals? And then our actions and our habits that we create along the way are going to support these short and long-term goals. So when they're making a decision, it must be in alignment with that goal. So if their goal is ultimately to make the lacrosse team and they have the decision to eat ice cream or eat fruit, well, it's going to be healthier to eat fruit, and you want to make the team and you want to be able to run as fast as you can, and that what's going to get you towards that goal, it's not going to be the ice cream, it's most likely going to be the fruit that fuels you to have better performance. So typically those are the kind of things that we can work on, some things like that as an example, and I'll come up with some other examples later as we talk about different types of decisions. So is it in alignment with your ultimate goal? And then that's when they're actually thinking about it. Then pausing and kind of thinking, okay, what state am I in? So if they're feeling, anxious or energetic or, kind of like chaotic, may not be the time to do the thinking. So either find a time when you're a little bit more calm or find a way to make yourself more calm. So if this is an urgent situation and a decision has to be made right now, then that's when you need to bring yourself down a level, and they can, do breath work, meditation, just closing their eyes, sitting, putting your hand on your heart, and just bringing down your heart rate. The breath work tends to work really, really well. If it isn't a sense of urgency, and this is a decision that can be made later on, so maybe there's a different day or a different time of day that you can encourage your teen to pause and think about it and just remove all those distractions of phone, TV, computer, brothers, sisters, whomever. Then you want to encourage your teen to be very deliberate. So before they take action, some of the questions that I ask them to reflect are, kind of, what are you like? What habits do you create? What is a way you may have reacted or acted in the past when this type of situation came up? So they kind of want to think, am I reacting in the same way that I always react, or am I trying to create a new way of acting? So they want to be very deliberate about that. And at this point, what I would say is they can either write pros and cons, they can say them out loud, they can, think about them and just, whatever works for them. Do a drawing. I mean, a lot of times I'll, make a graphic organizer. They can draw it out. Whatever works for them, whatever style that they, find that supports the way that their brain works, and kind of look at the options that they have and, should I make the decision and this is what's going to happen, or should I make the decision this way and this is what's going to happen? So at that point is the part where you may want to say, hey, do you want to share, what you've come up with me? So if they share that with you, which would be really awesome, accept it. Really show that you care, put down all your distractions, take the time to truly listen to them. And if you feel like you want to share, ask for permission. Would now be a good time for me to share with you some of the thoughts I was having based upon this decision. So if it's something larger, like, where they're going to go to college, there's a lot of factors that play a role there. money, major, location, the list goes on and on. So in certain scenarios, parents can give their teens a lot of autonomy in this decision. In other scenarios, they have to be a little bit more directive. But the only way that the teen will truly listen is if you listen to them. So being vulnerable, listening to them, what are their thoughts about this large decision? And then asking permission to share your thoughts. You also want them to pause again and assess what they're feeling after they have come up with some solutions or a decision. And if they're still kind of on the fence with a couple different ways they can think about the situation and what decision they want to make, it's good for them to actually visualize it again, and whether they want to draw something, whether they want to just sit quietly and think about, what would my life look like if I made X decision, and what would my life look like if I made Y decision. So the visualization can be a really strong tool to use to determine, what are next steps, and if I make this decision, what direction will it bring me in. Now, again, you want them to think and reflect on, previous mistakes they might have made, and you want them to create a positive change. So as I stated earlier, you don't want them to just react with the same actions and habits that may have gotten them into trouble before. And by trouble, I don't mean like necessarily, they could be getting in trouble, but, maybe the way that they acted in the past was very emotionally based, and they're very erratic, or the impulsivity caused them to hurt another one's feelings or something to that effect. So another question I use is, what type of leader do you want to be in order to believe this is true? So what you're asking them is, if you're going to make this decision, what would you have to do? What type of leader would you have to be in order to become that person on the lacrosse team, or that person that goes to that college? What would you have to believe true about yourself? So they're kind of going within again and determining what type of person acts in that certain manner. And then ultimately, the question I really also like to ask is, will this decision take me closer to my ultimate goal? So sometimes they come up with a lot of solutions and want to come up with a certain decision, but it just is like a shiny object. It doesn't really have anything to do with, their ultimate goals. And it might just be something that their friends are doing, or, again, it's impulsive. So they really have to take some time to go through these steps and, really do these actions. And, when they first try this, it might take a long time, and, some decisions need to be made really quickly. But ultimately, once they get in the habit of creating decisions in this manner, it really doesn't take that long for them to make a decision, because they know exactly what they want and they know exactly where they're going. So teens can be lost, and this helps them kind of create a path and helps them to navigate better the direction that they want to go in. So that's what we're here for. Coaches help teens to navigate. So thank you for your time. My name is Dr. Carla Couturier. I'm the CEO and founder of Inner Compass Teen Coaching.